to be able to tap into India, not only culturally, but also in terms of like the cinema craft, the people, the wonderful people who are working there in the craft. That is thrilling for us.
How did you manage to pick, Raj and DK? Like you'd seen their work from before, because you could have, there's a whole lot of people in Bombay who would love to work with you guys.
I think Raj and DK were especially exciting. They have a lot of shared sensibilities, I think, with Anthony and Joe. And so we've always, felt connected to them and their work.
We grew up big fans of global cinema, so we had a heightened sense of all the wonderful places that were embraced cinema.
Few bunch of people actually run the world. We just don't know. Do you believe?
This could potentially happen. And so we love to explore what actually could be, but may not be yet today.
Hello and welcome. This is Mayank Shekhar from Midday newspaper India. With me are two of the world's most popular filmmaking siblings, as it were, the Russos, Anthony, Angela, and of course David Weil, the creator of Citadel. I'm going to start with you, Anthony. I'm from India. You did Extraction as a producer. That was shot mainly in South Asia, in particular in Ahmedabad. We had Indian actors, lots of them in that particular film. Then you did Citadel, where the lead is Priyanka Chopra, a legit Bollywood star alongside. There is Citadel that has an India leg to the story, a complete Indian series with Varun Dhawan in it. You are the only person I know who's A-list Hollywood, who's forced such a strong India connection. Where does that come from? From the previous birth?
It comes from, I don't know, it's a good question. It probably comes from a lot of places. I mean, we grew up big fans of global cinema, so we had a heightened sense of all the wonderful places that were embraced cinema, India, Italy, etc. So that I think it started there. An interest in India throughout my life personally, like through yoga and things like that.
Right.
I love Kundalini Yoga. It has a special place in my life. And then also I think really what was the tipping point was the success of the Marvel films that we did. The way those movies...
In India, right? They're huge.
Yeah, exactly. And, just being able to travel the world with those movies, and especially in a place like India, to understand how those movies were moving people and impacting people, and to see movie theaters...
You come down to India to see audience reaction.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's overwhelming to see the passion and the excitement.
Do you remember when you actually saw the film being played in a theater and you were in India watching people kind of connect to?
Yeah, actually, sorry, I misspoke. It was only through video that I saw it.
Yes,
I wasn't physically present for when the movie was released.
Yes, you saw the audience reaction.
Saw a lot of videos, yes. And it was...
So you knew there's something you do that connects automatically to Indians in any case, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're always looking for ways to surprise ourselves and challenge ourselves as filmmakers.
Right.
And certainly to be able to tap into India, not only culturally, but also in terms of like the cinema craft.
Right.
And the people, the wonderful people who are working there
right.
in the craft. That is thrilling for us as creators, and that collaboration. This show is all about collaboration.
Absolutely. Like, David, Angela, when you were, of course, there is India series and there is the Italy series. They both could not be more different from each other in terms of look, feel, storyline, everything, right? Yeah. Did you give them the same brief and they came back with these two stories? How did it work?
A little bit, because that was the goal, was to allow them to remain as authentic to their own sensibilities as filmmakers as possible.
Right.
They've been engaging in a long history of projects with audiences in a manner that feels right to them, and we wanted them to continue that artistic journey.
Right.
So a lot of, what we talked about with them
What did you tell them that seemed like a brief that will result in different kind of stories?
We talked about theme.
It has to be specific and yet not, right?
Yeah, exactly. We talked primarily about theme,
okay.
And sort of what, the beautiful themes were that David had started to explore, which largely revolved around family, identity, sort of the struggle and balance between lies and the truth, which is unique to the spy archetype. And so really we asked them to have free reign in thinking
Within
about the characters
themes.
they want to explore, exactly, and how they wanted to expand upon the spy genre by incorporating threads of other genres. how stylistically, they wanted to communicate it.
What about choosing, India has a very thriving movie industry.
Yeah.
Literally every second person you meet in Bombay is an aspiring filmmaker or already has a script in his hand, right?
Yeah.
How did you manage to pick, Raj and DK? Like, you'd seen their work from before, because you could have, there's a whole lot of people in Bombay who would love to work with you guys.
You are right.
How did you get here?
Yes, I think Raj and DK were especially exciting. They have a lot of shared sensibilities, I think, with Anthony and Joe, and so we've always, felt connected to them and their work. Also felt very connected to Gina and Catalea and their work.
Right.
So to have an opportunity to reach out to collaborators like them, knowing that they're so open-minded to
You'd
collaboration.
seen their work before,
Yes. Oh yeah. And so that was, for us, that was the most exciting aspect of this opportunity, was to be able to reach out and ask to link arms with filmmakers that we respect and admire, who we knew were really strong collaborators, who could work, with David, who's also an incredible collaborator, very open, and sort of make this big filmmaking family across the globe.
Anthony, I mean, you guys are the masters of the big universe, right? Creating another world, as it were, and it's so much about, I think it's just almost like mythology in a real sense. You have to believe, and that's what audiences do when they watch an Avengers film, for instance. They believe, right? In the way that we believe in religion as well. It's faith. But what you're trying to do with Spies is something similar, because it's also a world you're creating, a universe where ex-spies have created Citadel, and the most rich people in the world have created, a Manticore. Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you think this is true?
That's a good question.
Well, I'll say this. Part of the reason we like working in the spy space, the fantasy space, the genre space, is because it is slightly different from real life. It's the goal of our favorite genres isn't necessarily to be completely accurate to real life.
Sure.
It's a sort of a construct that we can have fun with, and we enjoy exploring complicated ideas, complicated human experiences, and complicated political situations and global situations in the realm of fantasy, because it isn't real life. It allows people to think about these things, experience these things, engage these things in a way that's like one step removed from their real life.
Sure.
So it's a little safer. You're not triggered in the same way that you are in real life. So part of the virtue of a show like Citadel is the fact that you can feel a little safer.
Because it's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure about that? What about you? I mean, you have to be convinced yourself, right? At some level, we all have conspiracy theories about the world, and that's what we do when we're chilling and talking about what's going on.
Right.
Maybe there's an Illuminati, maybe just a few bunch of people actually run the world. We just don't know. Do you believe?
Well, I think what we believe is that it's possible, right?
Okay.
And it could happen, right? And so I think what Anthony was saying is right. You need a little bit of distance for an audience so that it doesn't feel so triggering, right? When you're watching something that is real life. We have the news. It's more than enough, drama, violence, and whatnot. Too much. So you want a little space to actually be able to intuit and understand sort of what you're watching and reflect on your own life. But I think, to your point, there is a fantasy and even a sci-fi element, right? Of like, this is 5 minutes in the future. This could potentially happen. And so we love to explore what actually could be, but may not be yet today.
And that's precisely what Joe Russo is shooting right now, which is the Citadel, the second season. And I know it's not true, but it seems very, very believable. Thank you very much for the show.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.